Boy, we are pleased and privileged to have Reggie Hatchett, the head basketball coach for the boys at Weaver High School, state champion, here to talk about some of the stuff that we were just seeing and hearing during the clip from We Have Issues. Coach Hatchett, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So you watched that segment, and it's kind of ironic that you had approached me about the very same subject. So what did you think about what Mike DeMora? Mike DeMora, I think, agrees with you, but he sees some of your colleagues in your sport and other sports doing what they shouldn't be doing.
Right. Well, I think the rule is incorrect to even be in place, so it forces a lot of coaches that have that kind of pull to try to dance their way around the rule. And really, why are we forcing a coach to have to sneak and work with players? The example I always give is, the CIAC would not condone if a kid struggled in math and wanted to see a math tutor in the summertime. It would be fine for him to go see a math tutor to get extra help if he wants to, improve his math grade. So why would we stop that same kid from, getting extra help in a sport like basketball if he hopes to play at the Division I level one day?
But the fact is the kids are playing, right? The kids are playing. If they're not playing for you, they're playing for somebody else.
Right.
And so wouldn't the schools want these kids to get the tutelage from their own employees?
Right. From somebody who is a paid professional to do it, because the fact of the matter is AAU is becoming like the Wild Wild West. A lot of, if you have the time to coach, there's probably a group of kids willing to listen to you. And so they're not necessarily getting good tutelage in the summertime. And so now those same kids come back with, now they're playing out of position, they've lost a step, or they're not on the same road they were when the basketball season ended the previous year. So if you allow those kids to still work with the coaches that they'll be playing for the following year, that they could be far ahead of where they actually come in at. From playing, not everybody plays bad basketball in the summertime, but the majority of, I would say maybe 75% are playing for coaches that don't coach at the high school level or higher, and they're not really getting good tutelage.
And in your position would be allow you to, because you can't even coach a group of your own players as a summer team. You're not allowed to coach them,
right.
and you would like that opportunity.
Right. I think we're only allowed as basketball coaches. We can have 3 guys that have eligibility at our school on our team in the summertime. If you have a 4th kid coming to the gym, I have to leave the gym. I can't even be within shouting distance. I can't give any sort of instruction. I can't even give him instruction about his attitude or his posture or even obeying his summer coach. I can't even talk to him about that. That's all considered illegal. So because the CIAC has that rule in place, we're losing quality kids to prep schools because the prep schools don't have those sort of rules and stipulations. A prep school coach can work with their kids all year round. So the negative effect that we're seeing is that some of our best and brightest kids, instead of those being CIAC success stories, they become prep school success stories, because those kids usually leave around sophomore year or junior year to go to a prep school where they can get year-round training. And that's the problem, I think.
So I have 2 questions for you. First, I just want to get an idea, and maybe you know this or maybe you don't, but what is the rule? What is the intention of the rule? I mean, it had to have started with some good intention that just got lost over time.
Well, I mean, the rule, what they tell you when you go to the training is that they don't want kids being coerced or forced into, playing a sport that they, just kind of like, so basically, if a coach has mandatory practices in the summertime and the kid doesn't love basketball, he's going to feel obligated to go to keep on track or to not get in the quote unquote doghouse with the coach. So they don't want coaches to abuse their power like that to force kids into having to do stuff in the summertime when the summertime should be theirs if they so choose. So that's what they say the rule is. I personally believe that the rule protects lazy coaches who don't want to spend their summer times putting extra work, with their kids. So it makes it illegal for those coaches that do have that passion to do so.
So let me go back to the other question, Mark. I'm sorry, but just you had mentioned that many of these kids aren't getting good coaching. Is that because some of these AAU coaches are not really good coaches, or maybe they're in it for their own reasons. Maybe they're trying to latch onto some kids.
Right. Well, the majority of, I won't say the majority, a large number of AAU coaches are coaching because they're coaching their own sons or nephew, and they just kind of get a bunch of kids to fill in other spots, but they really just want to coach their own son. So obviously the son is going to be the focal point. They want the 4 best other kids with their son. Right. On the team. So that's what you find, and when you have that situation, very rarely have I seen a father be an effective AAU coach, because he's always going to have, that ulterior motive. So and also there's a lot of coaches that coach simply because they have the time to do so, and a lot of people just don't have the time to do so.
So as a public school, as a CIA coach, your is it a strained relationship with the AAU in that, they're your kids for, 10 months out of the year basically, and for the summer, they're,
Well, the guys who have figured it out, the Coach Luke Riley from East Catholic, and Ken Smith from Windsor, and Coach Renard Sutton from Hill House, those guys have an understanding that in order for them to be the best they possibly can be, they have to have a relationship with the summertime coach. So those coaches will approach an AAU coach and say, listen, Reggie's a player of mine. He has to improve on his left hand. He has to improve on his jump shot. So can you make sure that happens? And then that's not illegal for them to have that conversation with the AAU coach, and then they have to trust that the AAU coach is going to carry those instructions out. So those are the people that basically are ahead of the game and understand what's going on with the climate, and they make the rules work for them. But the ones that have no relationships with AAU coaches are suffering, and honestly, you won't find an elite level high school team who doesn't have a great relationship with the youth coaches in his area.
Now this is not just a problem in basketball as far as not being able to coach your players. It's all sports, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And losing players in other sports to the prep schools.
Right.
So what would be? Do you have an idea? Do you have a plan that you'd like to approach the CIAC with?
Well, I think that the CIAC needs to approach the NCAA and work together to figure out how we can best suit our customers, which are the kids. I don't think that the kids are being put first with a lot of the rules. The CIAC is in the quote-unquote dark ages with a lot of the rule changes that they refuse to do, like just having a shot clock. I mean, at the next level, you have to play with a shot clock. Connecticut is one of the only states in the United States that doesn't have a shot clock. So we are not preparing our kids to play at the college level if we don't introduce them to a shot clock. Even if it was a minute long, they still have to play with one. And I think the reasoning is because a lot of the schools, the majority of the schools in Connecticut are from suburban areas or areas where they don't have a lot of elite level athletes. And those schools, without taking away the shot clock, that's the great equalizer. If you put it in the shot clock now, you're gonna a suburban team that doesn't have a chance to stay close to an urban team.
Right. Well, listen, we could go on all day talking about the different issues at the high school level. We thank you for coming on, and I know you had to come down from the Hartford area. Will you do it again?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We would love to have you down and talk more. And by the way, congratulations on J.C. Martin signing to play at Sacred Heart
you'll be
University.
coming here to watch him.
Yeah, I will. I think he's going to be a communications major too, so he'll be in the building.
Another intern.
Fred. He's a well-spoken young man.
All right.
That's going to do it. Coach, thank you so much for coming on and joining us and shedding some knowledge on us. Always welcome here.